When I was a child, my grandfather used to tell me stories by the flickering light of a lantern. His voice was rough, like the dry wind that blew through our village, but his eyes carried the weight of years, some filled with pride, others with regret. One night, as the rain whispered against the old wooden windows, he began with words that made me lean closer. He said, "There was a wolf that used to eat my sheep, but one day I took revenge." I remember the silence that followed those words. Even the rain seemed to pause. My grandfather looked far away, as if his mind had traveled back to a time long buried. His hands, old and trembling, reached for the firewood, as if feeding the flames would give him courage to speak again. Then he began to tell me the story that changed the way I saw him forever. He was just 20 then, a shepherd living in the mountains where the nights were cruel and the wind carried the howls of wild beasts. His life was simple: the flock, the hut, and the endless fields of silence. But one winter, a wolf began to hunt his sheep. Every few nights it came like a shadow, taking one, sometimes two. My grandfather tried everything: fires, traps, even staying awake for nights. But the wolf was clever, patient, and fearless. It wasn't just killing for hunger. It was as if it wanted to test him. He told me how he began to feel anger, slowly turning into obsession. "I wasn't just losing sheep," he said, his voice trembling. "I was losing the little I owned, the peace I had." The villagers told him to let it go, that it was nature's way. But he couldn't. He said the wolf wasn't an animal anymore. It had become a rival. One dawn, after finding another half-eaten sheep, he broke. "That morning," he whispered, "I decided it would end. Either the wolf dies or I do." He built a small wooden cage, smeared it with the scent of blood, and waited with his rifle. The mountain was quiet that night, too quiet. He said even the stars looked down like witnesses. Hours passed, and then, just before dawn, he heard the soft crunch of snow. The wolf had come. But what happened next wasn't what he expected. He said the wolf didn't attack. It didn't even growl. It limped toward the pen, thin and bleeding from one leg. My grandfather could see its ribs pressing through its fur, its eyes tired but burning with something human, pain, maybe, or pride. For a moment he lowered his gun. He said, "I almost let it go. But then I thought of the months of loss, the sleepless nights, the hunger," and he pulled the trigger. The sound echoed through the valley. The wolf fell, its body twisting in the snow. My grandfather walked up to it, expecting to feel triumph. Instead, he saw something that broke him: a scar near its belly, a sign of old wounds, and beside it, faint paw prints, smaller ones. The wolf was a mother. It hadn't hunted for sport. It was feeding its cubs. He said that realization hit him harder than any bullet could. "I didn't kill a beast. I killed a mother." That winter, he buried the wolf near the hill where his sheep grazed. Every year afterward, he said, no wolf ever came near again. But sometimes, late at night, He'd hear howling in the distance, a lonely, broken sound, and he'd whisper, "I'm sorry." Then my grandfather looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Son, might feed your anger, but it never fills your soul." He paused, eyes wet but steady, and said softly, "That wolf taught me mercy in death, something no man ever could in life." He stopped there, his voice fading into the crackle of the fire.